Oh, wow, almost close. Two. Hi, guys. This is Thunder E, and welcome to Weekly Hangout. Today we started a little bit later than scheduled posted, but welcome. We have the whole gang here. Starting on my right is Alex. How's it going, Alex?
It's going well. Hello, folks. How you doing?
Good, good. And next up is Mr. Juan Bagnell from Some Gadget Guy.
Hey, everybody, West Coast represent. Let's do this.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, man, he took us to the most awesome Mexican restaurant in LA. So that was pretty
Don
cool.
Antonio's. What?
We got to see him this past week in LA. And next up, the guy dodging the camera. Oh, there he's
Oh,
back.
yeah.
Yeah, is Mr. Andrew Cam.
Good morning. I just had to adjust something really quick.
Okay, all right, cool.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Whoa. Okay. All right, then, Juan.
All right, and and next up is Sam, aka Black Iron Man. How's it going, man?
It's doing good, going good.
Cool, cool. All right, so this week was E3. All the big three companies had big announcements, as well as the other big gaming companies. So I just want to get your thoughts on what you thought about E3 this year, whether you were there or whether you just watched it from home, and what do you think was the biggest thing that you saw game-wise from any of the companies. So you know what, I'll start off with you, Andrew.
For me, it was Assassin's Creed, but I should preface this by saying I say that every year because they always make this cut video that's like, oh my god, this looks so amazing, and I've yet to finally just bite the bullet and buy an Assassin's Creed game and play it. And I know it's like one of the highest rated games out there, but I just always procrastinate so much. And by the time the next one comes out, I'm like, oh man, I gotta get this game. And I had the same feeling when I saw it this year.
So it's Assassin's Creed. Anything else from the companies in terms of Microsoft, Nintendo, Sony? What do you think about those guys in general?
I didn't see anything particularly jump out.
You just
Most
cut
of
off.
can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, I didn't see anything particularly jump out at me. Most of the news was like things that pretty much I'd already seen before, or one company had done it and another one were saying they're going to follow suit. So nothing really stood out to me too much.
Okay, all right, cool, cool. And Mr. Warren Bowman has joined us. How's it going, man?
All right, thumbs up. Let's do this.
All right, and in that fashion, next person is you. No, we're just talking about E3, so I wanted to get your thoughts on the companies and also what games stood out for you, whether it's from Microsoft, Nintendo, Sony, or from a third party. So, fire away.
E3. It's always an interesting event. It's I think the main theme of the entire event was basically all we're about is games, and we're sorry we mentioned anything else other than games. So everybody was just like, games, 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 just like all they threw out there. Forget that it can do anything else. All it plays is games. When you press the power button, it's just going to turn on to a game. That's it. And that's pretty much the theme I got. I think everybody pretty much put out the games that they were pretty much were talking about putting out the year before. I think out of all of them, the only conference I didn't fall asleep during was Nintendo's, but Nintendo actually kicked ass with theirs compared to everyone else's, and expect the entire industry to copy this. Expect the entire industry to copy that type of thing. Because I know Sam's got that puzzled look that I just said that, but the reason I say that is people are talking about their conference more than anyone else's. All the other two, no one's talking about as much.
Whoa.
But hey, that's what I'm seeing on Twitter, and that's what I'm seeing on Facebook and through social media.
Okay, before you continue, won't you preface that with saying that they are talking about Nintendo because this is what Nintendo should have done and finally is doing? Because what I remember you mentioned that, right? But what we saw on the show floor was completely different. Like that
Oh
whole
yeah,
atmosphere of Nintendo was killing it when you went on the show floor. Sony's booth was just as packed
Exactly.
as
Sony
Nintendo.
was the star of
That's
the show in this one.
you know, as well as Microsoft too. So it was that kind of thing where maybe on the web, maybe people thought that way, but
you got to remember that's just industry heads that are there, that are mainly people that can actually get into that show. You know, it could be a totally different ball game if it's something that's public or more broader, more fans are there than just people that just work within the industry itself. But while E3 is important, what's going on that show floor, it's really what's the perception outside of that, because those are the people that are buying the games and playing the games and supporting the industry because they're spending the money in it. And that's what I heard a lot more than the other two conferences out there. Not saying that any of them did bad. I think they all did a very good job of presenting their games. And a lot of the games, I think all of them should have been had out, or should have been in the launch, or should have been out right now. So now it's finally starting to become important to want to buy a next-gen console, as before it was just very meek in terms of gaming options. So yeah, Nintendo finally put their things out, definitely, and that's a good thing. And I think that's what the majority of it really is. But at the same time, they found a very creative way of putting it out, getting their message across, and not boring everyone to death, and not showing, I've been to E3 before plenty of times, and I've been to these conventions, and 90% of them are you go into an entire arena where everybody talks about the games, to show a bunch of clips of games that you're not going to see for another year or so. It's nice that you can do that, but I found it to just be way more effective the way Nintendo did it. They just showed us it directly, gave us the information, and I didn't have to sit there and be bored inside of a hallway all day while they talk about something or a demo doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just jump straight in. I kind of almost completely, totally agree with everything that Warren just said. So,
all right.
That's kind of how I felt about E3 as well. And even down to the press conferences, I had the most fun with Nintendo's. Although it was kind of a kick in the genitals to hear, like, oh, and most of these games will be out sometime.
Exactly. Which is why with me, I didn't watch it, but when I heard that there was no release dates, or no, it was 2015, I went like this. I'll see you then. I was.
But the preface there, that's damn near all of them are like that. All these conferences are literally like that. It's like you're gonna get more news out of PAX Prime about these games than you are gonna get out of this. And it's just like, I don't understand why they have this in the middle of June when games are halfway finished or nowhere near it. They get some nice fancy demo to show everyone to be excited about it, then you forgot about the game a year later as they're showing it to you again at E3 2015 that's gonna come out in the holidays of the end of that year.
Yeah, I mean, see,
it's like Jedi mind tricks or something. Like,
yeah, see, but the thing I liked about Microsoft was they showed more gameplay, even for games that are not coming out this year, and they had people playing it there.
Exactly.
I don't care if it's digital. I just want to see somebody play it, because that's just me. I want to see that it's actually being made and it looks the way it's made.
I used to be like that, but to me now it's like
Sony's was different. Sony just said, we have beta, and we have exclusive beta.
Yeah, no, you know what? It's actually, I think it's actually worth looking at the stats, right? You look at Microsoft. Microsoft had something of the order of about 62% of their games, right, coming out in 2014, right? Sony had only 47%. Nintendo did great with like 58%. Right, and now you go to actual the kind of exclusivity or stuff like there's so many stats on this thing. So let's say time spent, right? Time spent talking about games. Microsoft has something about this is 67%, Sony 54%, and Nintendo 66%. So Microsoft and Nintendo were actually talking about games and actually talking about gameplay. Sony, oh god, it was more like bow down to our fans and give them everything they want. It was like 50-50. They talked just as much about non-game items or non-game I would say non-game subjects as they did about the actual gaming themselves. Any actual hands-on. Okay, I shouldn't say they never showed. They showed very minimal hands-on gameplay, whereas Microsoft, for most of the majority of the releases or the majority of the announcements, they had people playing the games. So for me, I think it was more Microsoft. Sitting down there and seeing people actually playing the games, to me, means a lot more than basically people just announcing stuff. Because announcing stuff doesn't tell me how the interaction between players are going to be. When something like, when you're playing a game that is multiplayer, something like Halo, or Halo is coming back, it's nice to see multiple people in the same room playing the game while the announcement is going on. It doesn't matter.
Environment beta. To me, it's a controlled environment. Show me that. I used to be excited for that like a few years ago, but now, seriously, just send me the demo reel and tell me the game is coming. I really don't need to know anymore.
That's inaccurate.
I really don't. And here's the best thing: we have these high-profile consoles. Send me the beta through the console. Give me everything through there.
Can we talk about Sunset Overdrive, please? Sunset Overdrive. That's a pretty.
Sunset Overdrive. That's a great game.
When's that coming out?
When you
2017 or something? Who knows?
No, this year. It's this year. I played the game.
So,
See, that's the thing. You're putting your Nintendo goggles on.
No, I'm not. I'm putting on the goggles. How am I putting my Nintendo goggles on when I'm bashing all of them for doing it?
No, dude. Because I know the first thing you sent me as a text message is, "My God, Nintendo won."
Because I thought they did. They actually had, and it's not just. I'm not the only one that's saying that, though.
Well, it
doesn't matter. No, the way I see it, it doesn't matter what everyone is saying. If you won the show floor and you actually listen to the announcements and you saw, it doesn't really.
Because everyone else is buying the games.
The whole point of this exercise was to ask us what we're saying.
No. What I'm saying is, in this exercise, it doesn't matter what everyone else out there is saying. It's the opinion of people on here that matters right now. So yes, my opinion is Nintendo did not win anything. Seriously, they didn't win anything. The person who won this, seriously, to me, as much as I can say they didn't show as many game footage as anyone else, PlayStation won this hands down because their fans were literally frantic for their games, and that's exactly why they won. Nintendo, great. Little Big Planet got so much of a draw. I'm buying a PlayStation 4 because of Little Big Planet. It's just,
That's what I'm thinking. Your argument.
I mean, it's like
even your camera doesn't agree. Your camera doesn't agree.
It's the same token, though, when we're talking about what might be buying a console for this game.
All right, guys, Juan is talking. Go ahead, Juan.
No, it's that was amusing.
No, it's my Surface closed on me. I should set the stand differently.
No, but I was just gonna say it's that same discussion that we're having of who will buy a console when a game comes out versus like recently when we saw the Wii U sales bump up significantly just because Mario Kart hit the finally hit retail channels. When you see people lining up for hours around Best Buys to get hands-on time with some of the gear coming out, and that's Nintendo. I mean, whatever people got lit up about with Sony, we saw very similar reactions with Nintendo, and I would say we also saw many of the same talking points and discussion just centered around Halo. I mean, again, it's. I think we would all agree it's if the games are there, people will buy consoles, people will get lit up, and that's one of the reasons why I think I was so entertained by Nintendo's press conference and what I saw on the show floor from Nintendo.
I mean, I agree with you, but my own disappointment with Nintendo was that, like I said, compared to Microsoft, Alex says Sunset Overdrive. Immediately, Warren says it's coming out next year, but they said it was this year and they showed it to me. And I know it's coming out.
I completely.
I know it was coming out. I was just joking.
I know.
But we're talking about an industry that their dates change so much. It means relatively nothing when it's announced at E3. It can be changed 4 times over.
No, I agree, but Nintendo has a bad habit. I don't trust them in releasing anything on time ever again, at all. And then the other thing that really pissed me off was
the reason why I'm willing to trust them on this one is because they said it's gonna be in the distant future. No, I mean I completely agree with you at that point. What I mean is who I thought put on the most entertaining show, who I thought really kind of got people lit up. The date is absolutely a bummer. I mean we haven't said that was anything different, but. That's why I had so much fun with Nintendo's announcement because we've been waiting for the Wii U to do anything.
Something.
Anything. I mean, not even something, anything. You can't win me over with a couple new little gimmicks in an Arkham game. That's not going to make me want to buy a Wii U. And so now we're finally starting to see that wealth of IP. We talked about before. If any company has the IP to throw around, it's Nintendo.
Yep. Toad is getting a game.
Execute on that.
Toad is getting a game.
Yeah, it was there. I played it. It was all right. I mean,
Toad is getting. It's based on because Toad has something similar in one of the Mario games.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like that, and I was like, they just made a game for Toad. And
Yoshi got a game
too. Well, Yoshi's had several games though. Yoshi's had several games in the
So
past.
Toad needs his own game.
But
I'm just shocked it's Toad.
It's like the sidekick of the sidekick.
I know. It's like
Wait, has Luigi ever had his own?
yeah,
Luigi
Mansion.
had his own
Luigi's
game?
Mansion.
Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
which should come back.
Yeah, that was a very good
Yeah.
game. That was a very good game, Luigi's Mansion.
And then they even had a Wario game on the Wii, didn't they?
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
Wario. They had several
Yeah.
Wario games. They had
Yeah.
like, a couple.
Yeah,
No,
well,
What pissed me off with Nintendo is the fact that I knew the announcement, but the announcement came after I sold my 2 Wavebirds. Is the fact that all the controllers they used for Smash Brothers was what? GameCube
Yeah,
controller.
GameCube controllers, yeah.
I was just like,
And Smash Brothers is just as fun as ever, man. Oof, that game was fun.
I finally am gonna buy another Smash Bros. Game because I didn't buy the last one, and now I'm interested into it. And I think what got me interested in that was the whole adding your Mii to the game to be able to put your own Mii in there and fight with everyone else. I thought that was pretty cool.
no, it was cool. I think to me the best thing is that they slowed it down just a tad bit, because Melee was fast. This game is just slowed down just enough where you don't feel like some kid is just gonna kick you off in no time. So
Yeah, it's gonna happen anyway.
yeah. I mean, well, but
It's like when you decide to play Street Fighter 4 again. Yeah, and got online. Yeah.
Nah, but Smash Brothers is even worse because Smash Brothers is like a lot easier to pull off moves than Street Fighter, man. It's like a button masher. You just mash some buttons,
It's like button mashing.
stuff happens.
It is a button mashing. That's all it is. You bash buttons, the percentage meter goes up. It's confusing, and it just blows off
I'm
the
totally
screen.
counting the frames, guys. I'm totally counting the frames so I can mount the best strategic counterattack to your power move.
Hey,
The animation's only 7 frames long for a jab, and so I know how to counter that perfectly.
the messed up part is I know people like that
For
talk
Street
that
Fighter.
way.
For Street Fighter,
Fighter
yeah.
especially.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That
All
shit is
Street Fighter
serious.
kids are like that. Like I can count the frames and tell you, like, my God, you have no life.
And
My
no,
God.
but it was no joke though because it worked. Okay,
Oh, it does.
it worked.
Unless they're beating Jay Wong, it don't matter. It don't matter. And only the Japanese kid can do that, apparently. So.
Yeah. No, but I will say the other thing I found interesting was Sony's demo of Project Morpheus that was there on the show floor. Oculus was also there on the other side for that. I think Oculus had just a bigger line just because they're bigger with that, and Sony did push it out, but a lot of people were spending more times on the games itself than that. But I will tell you though, Project Morpheus is pretty cool. It's the same thing as Oculus in terms of functionality, but one of the things they had is because there is some motion tracking on the headset. The luge game they actually have you sitting down on a chair and you're tilting left and right to use the luge and going down like the streets. And the guy I was recording, this dude was screaming like a little girl. He was like, "Oh!"
Nobody recorded this?
And I recorded, but it was so loud, like all the noise in the booth was so loud. But I could hear him scream, like he's like, "Oh my God, this is so cool!" Oh, well, and he was
It's a double rainbow. Wow.
I was gonna say something, but I'll skip because it would just be. But yeah, it was cool. It was one of those things where I was like, oh wow, Sony actually came out and really put out something and not just like a kind of tech demo just to say we're competing with Oculus. So that was cool.
They've had these Project Morpheus thing for a little while now. Like they've been in development for a while. I remember seeing this. I think I have a video on the channel list from like either CS 2010 or 2011.
No,
it was a 3D headset.
It's not a 3D headset. It wasn't because I actually sat down with one of the developers and he's like, no, it's like we just use that as the base for the display mounted headset, but we didn't actually work on it. It was about maybe a year and a half to 2 years ago when they started on their own virtual reality itself. But that was just the base for the head mounted display itself, so that they could actually have it suited up. But the one that was cool was the Virtuous the one that has like the treadmill that you run around and you wear the Oculus. that thing is awesome, man. Like you need to have one at home because
but it's so expensive. It's like $400 on top of the Oculus, which is on top of like the system you're gonna buy.
No, I
But at the end of the
agree.
day, it's like $1,400 to get that full experience.
I agree, but trust me, when you wear it and use it, that price will disappear.
All right. So
I'm
you know what?
telling
You
you.
guys need to go and pick up a book by Neil Stevenson called Snow Crash. Okay.
Oh, Snow Crash is amazing.
And you guys will understand exactly where we're going because you get corporations now sponsoring these guys to go do stuff. You know, we will give you all your equipment for free, except for all your marketing and revenue belong to us. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool
No.
stuff. You're gonna get the suit and the running stuff and the VR glasses. Pretty awesome.
No, but it was cool though. I mean, one of those things where when you start using it, you really feel immersed. And this was just them using Oculus's first dev kit, so it's not even the Crystal Clove, which is 1080p. But it feels very immersive because as you're just turning around, it feels so natural, like you're in there. So it's one of those things that, it's not going to be big, but you're going to see where people will buy that as just a very different experience altogether. So, I mean, hopefully the price comes down where it's like 200, and then or you get a bundle deal with the Oculus headset to get at a certain price. So, we'll see. But any extra thoughts on E3 before we move to the next topic?
Biggest surprise that I didn't think the game I didn't think I would like was 1886. So what's it called? The
Order 1886.
Yeah, the Order 1886. I didn't think I'd like that game, but it's actually turned out to be pretty awesome. And the game I'm kind of taking a step back from now is Destiny. I didn't like how that game controlled at all. I was so looking forward to it, especially given the fact that the new Halo wasn't going to come out until probably like 2016. But nah, Destiny needs to have its controls like tightened up a little bit. It's definitely not a contender when you start factoring in games like Call of Duty and Titanfall out there. It's not. It needs some work on the controller side.
Destiny is the one from Bungie, right?
Bungie,
Yeah, the one from Bungie. Yeah.
Well, I just for one want to say I was on my edge of the seat hoping for a 2K announcement the whole show, and I like the whole show. Madden is probably the worst football game to ever be created, and like the people at EA Sports are so lazy that it frustrates me as a gamer. So I went on YouTube watching all the comparisons of 2K5 to Madden 2014, and it's just like, you know what? If 2K doesn't announce something, then I'm done. So I would just focus for a
I've
great
been off
sports
that
game.
Madden boat for a while.
Yeah, but you have no choice at this point because EA buys exclusivity for every sport, and without the authenticity of the names, the logos, the teams, and the franchises and all that, it doesn't feel the same.
Except for one.
Yeah,
The NBA, where they got their asses handed to
yeah,
them.
exactly. And so now when EA is just sitting there like,
Well, they got their asses handed to them with
put
2K5.
the same game out every year. Like when I used to play the NCAA college football, I didn't buy it for 1 year, and then I bought it another year, and I was like, wait a minute, this is the same game I played 2 years ago.
It's the same game.
All they did was just move the sliders where it became even harder to pass. And I was like, I could have done that manually by adjusting computer AI. So what's the point of buying this game every 2 years? I was like, we're done with them.
But don't you think, I'm not the biggest sports game player here, but don't you think the problem is more with basically the the organization is basically licensing your game out to only one developer over the other? If there was
It's really the NFL that does that. The other sports don't do that. All the other four major sports don't do that.
Well, FIFA does it
does
too.
that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it wasn't like that.
Two out of the other. I'm talking about the real four major sports in America, which is baseball, football, hockey, and basketball. Only football has exclusivity because basketball.
Well, there was a
There
license. It was open.
There was a time where the 2K, like, I forgot who it was. Somebody, I think. I know they did it in college basketball as well for that game, and they kind of like pressured 2K not to get it. I forgot what year it was, but that was kind of like where they got the idea to just say we're going to throw money at the problem, and that kind of ruined football because 2K was killing them when they had the licensing. So EA is probably going to pursue that for the next time the rights come around. If they can't get it from the NBA, they might do it with the players, so to get exclusivity for their likeness or something with the players union.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of difficult to get one without the other, though. Usually, if one agrees to it, the other one kind of follows suit with it. It's kind of hard to try and get the play. If you can't get the NFL to try to get the players aren't going to follow because there's no money involved at that point.
Well,
like DC
Sorry.
Comics and license all of the football teams that have ever been in DC.
That was a good argument. Though.
Yeah.
I think you just, I mean, like, you obviously you couldn't put a huge budget behind it. You would have to make that like a AA game or something like that. But you could take it back to some like old school Super Nintendo style gameplay. Have like the Gotham City Rogues against like the Metropolis Metros and stuff. And I think you could build up a franchise that way. I think it would be a really difficult thing to do, and I don't think the fans would embrace it right away. But I think that that's an opportunity to kind of crowbar in where obviously like the NFL's not gonna give up. Like,
Well, there is I've heard in the NFL that they're looking to try to kind of get out of those type of exclusive things because I think they want Madden to change a little bit too, and they're ultimately going to listen to what their fans are saying more so than what EA is saying, and if they're
the money
NFL's
talks.
never going to listen to the fans.
Yeah.
They're going to listen to what their marketing analysts and economics.
if it's still
professors
making
say.
tons of money, it's still making
if
tons of money.
if the marketing people tell you you'll make $1.2 billion, but the fans will be upset, and then or you can make the fans happy for $1.18 billion, they're going to take $1.2 billion. So trust me.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know. They played.
No, that's
they
not
made plenty of
even-
fans. They made plenty of
That's
fans
not even-
happy.
You have to realize that these are
Yeah.
corporations. They basically
These are corporations.
They have outlooks for where the profit earning. So,
No, true. But the main thing is also that the game is not the video
Game's
game
not
is
selling
not.
as well.
But a
It's
video
not.
game is not.
but if you want
the
to
main
play,
source
if you
of
want to
income.
play a game, if you want to play a football game, like with the correct characters and teams. You
Well,
know,
and
it's gonna be
NFL is
there.
like extreme control over the game. Like they don't have tattoos. You can't list some of the major injuries that really happen in real life in the game. Like the NFL actually makes them do certain stuff in the game with that license. So I guess if a 2K is willing to do that, then I guess I'm with them. But just make like you said, like a DC comic like game, and then the fans will cry for it. You know, they'll buy that versus Madden, and then we'll go from there.
Well, why doesn't someone just make a fully customizable game? You know?
Metropolis Metros with Thomas Bradley. Tom Brady.
Yup.
Thomas
I think that could be a lot of fun. I really think that could be legit.
It really could. It really
Yeah.
could.
A lot of these sports games go franchise mode anyway. I mean, like you could have a lot of fun kind of customizing a completely fictional franchise.
Now, and no gameplay was showed for Mass Effect. The next one, when Mass Effect the idea looked pretty awesome. I mean, I'm still playing Mass Effect 3. I mean, I wish I had Mass Effect 2, but I'm still playing Mass Effect 3. And it's just, I love the whole series. So we'll
Yeah,
see how that
Mass
goes.
Effect. I mean, from the way they spoke about it, I don't think that game's gonna hit till probably
2017?
2016.
16? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they said it was early. Like they just started it, so there's nothing. The most, if they're gonna rush it out, it'll be 215 end of the year.
Yeah.
But 216 is probably when the game's gonna come
Yeah,
out.
because they have a lot to make up for after the last Mass Effect.
Yeah, it was it's pretty bad, but I mean,
It
it's
was
going
a
on.
great game, but they screwed up the ending. And that was an instance where developers should have basically put their foot in the ground and basically just held to their guns, and they kind of flip flopped on it. So they have a lot to make up for. They made the experience at the end not so great for people who invested that much time in the game.
We know we made
Especially
some
if you
of
played
the
1, 2, and
biggest,
3.
widest open RPG gaming elements of all time, and you could customize your character over 3 different games.
Mhm.
But for the ending, you only get 2 choices. Here you go.
Exactly.
Surprise! It was linear all along.
I thought you were gonna hold up 2 different fingers at one time. Like you were that upset.
I totally should have.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so I guess we've gone through E3 in the sense that there's a lot. It's like Warren said at the beginning, it was games. Sony was the only one who talked about their multimedia. I mean, Microsoft did a bit. Their multimedia empire with the TV show Powers in there. And they said they'll be bringing more content. Microsoft did mention the Halo TV show, which will come out end of the year. But they tied that with the general Halo announcement also. So that was.
I will say this adding to the more Madden argument. I just wanted to see. I just wanted to take a look at some of the sales figures between like Madden and what it sold this year, which is about 4.62 million, I think globally is what it's saying here. And then I just want to compare it to a 2K game. Well, the only thing you can really compare it right now is like the NBA series, which is a top franchise there. That sold about 6 million. And that's awkward that a basketball game is outselling a football game right now.
That's true. That's true.
Is that worldwide?
Yep.
Then it would be more.
No, no.
Basketball is bigger worldwide than football.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, but not.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
reason is within the United States, there's so many sales for Madden that it kind of outpaces it. Because like
Yeah.
basketball's a lot bigger in like Europe.
Europe,
Uh,
China.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like a lot of those places don't play the games as much. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Like, they're not they're excited to like physically
Excuse me.
watch real basketball.
Excuse me. It was 5.14 million. I got a couple of ones wrong in there, but it's still more than the NFL game is right now.
No, I mean it is, but again, I mean, to me, those numbers are still strong for something that's solely U.S., and maybe parts of Europe, compared to the NBA, which is an NBA game, which is
No, but but the global sales for Madden was still like around 2 million each.
that's what I mean. Like it's still strong compared to something like a basketball game where it's global, it's a bigger reach. It's like trying to compare that to FIFA. FIFA numbers should be bigger, huge.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole different ball game. But I hear you. I think also again, with the NFL, they've sold the rights, so they've already taken the chunk of money out. This is now EA recouping that money back in game sales. So it's on EA to actually make changes, not necessarily the NFL, because the NFL already sold the rights. So that $1 billion, right? They're paying the $1 billion every year. It's EA, if they want to see more sales, they need to fix the game and fix things that fans would appreciate. So that's where you find those differences in there. All right, let's move on to the other big announcement this week: Galaxy Tab S.
Big with quotes.
Yes.
Big.
All right, so fire away, guys. Your thoughts on the new Samsung?
They should
Galaxy
never have made a
Tab
10-inch.
S.
Well, yeah, I'm with Sam. I mean, I actually really like the 8.4. It's like a glorified, I guess, megaphone from them, but it actually looked nice. I mean, it wasn't the same faux leather. It looked like it, but the material wasn't the same. It was a little bit more refined, and like the black on the gold color was really nice. And just, I guess, the screen and the small bezel, it's just more practical to have the 8.4 than the 10.1 or the 10.5, because I have the Tab Pro 10.1 and I see no difference.
Like the 8.4, right, is not that much bigger than a 7-inch tablet. But
Actually, it's almost the same size as an iPad Mini.
the bezels are just so low, so you do get a wider screen on there. So I think it's the perfect size. I was able to put it into a coat pocket, but the 10-inch, it's just I don't know. I've never been a fan of 10-inch tablets, and since I left my iPad 2 alone, I've never gone back to that to anything above 7 inches. So.
Yeah. I think the
8.4
10
definitely
is
fine.
because they're trying to position themselves as that flexible entertainment / work device. And we saw that they had the accessory, the keyboard dock there.
Yeah.
That one kind of interested me because the 8.4 one was a little too small for me. But when I was typing on the 10.5 one, it was a lot better than previous Bluetooth keyboards they've released in the past. So I think that's the reason why they're going with the 10.5. They still think there's going to be people that are going to want to have that great entertainment device to watch a movie on the plane, but they're also going to want to be able to do some work when they're in the airport terminal or something. So I think that's the only reason they keep pushing these large-scale tablets, even though the trends keep saying that you want to be in the 8 to 9-inch range.
Yeah, I mean, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, please go ahead.
I was going to say some of the features they have added, like with the whole phone sync, the text messaging, and all that stuff, it seems like the transition from the phone to the 8.4 size would make more sense than having the 10.5-inch tablet. So if you're going to be in your room, your phone's charging, if you have the 8.4, you kind of still have that phone-like functionality with the ability to do that. With the 10.5, it's like, unless they make specific apps, I mean, you can get Microsoft Office on Android if you want to, but there's really nothing else but other Google apps that can create content well on an Android tablet. So I see where they're going with it, but you actually need that platform to do that in the first place.
Well, and I think it just speaks to the larger conversation where people are still questioning what it is that we need or want tablets for. And so these two obviously
Surface
strike
Pro
at-
3, baby.
Well, and I think that's a really important part of the conversation because we look at the 8-inch tablet being more of a mobility device. It's kind of what I do like about my Nexus 7. I can take it out of the house. I haven't picked up my Nexus 7 as often now that I've gotten phones with 6-inch screens, though. And then you look at some of the tablets like the Surface. I've got a Surface 2. And I haven't picked up any Android 10-inch tablets since I got my Surface because that actually does a slightly better job of helping me get my work done. So Android has, I think both Android and iOS have issues in sort of justifying their product lineups right now. I think Apple is looking at the same thing where they're making more money off of mobility products and tablets than they are off of their MacBooks and Macs. And so that's going to hurt them if we see more competition with full-fledged computers soon that also fit these same form factors.
Yeah. You were going to say something, Sam?
No, I was just thinking. I was just actually going to throw it out there because this was something I was thinking about, and it's just the idea that maybe it's not really, an issue with trying to fit all these tablets into different spaces, but rather phasing out what we're used to when it comes to mobility. Like laptops, seriously, I see Surface and Surface-like products replacing our laptops, especially when you look at Lenovo, the ThinkPads, the Yoga. When you look at these multi-form factor laptops, the whole idea of the traditional laptop is changing. They're getting thinner, they're getting more mobile. Now, you look at 7-inch tablets and cell phones, that line is totally blurring because now the tablet is becoming the phone or the phone is becoming the tablet. So however way you look at it, I think consumers as a whole now need to basically shift their way of thinking to basically, the device we had before are somewhat now like in the past. We're not going to have things like that much anymore. We're going to have devices that are our tablet and our phone and most likely our computers, most likely wrapped all in one or being two separate devices. We're no longer going to have a laptop, a tablet, and a cell phone. We're killing one of those off.
Well, what I see happening first actually is a company, and it's really, I think it's Apple or Microsoft's ball to fumble right now. And I think what we'll see next is we'll probably still have all of these different form factor devices, but we'll move to one global operating system. So like you have one Mac account, and that follows you from your phone to your tablet to your laptop to your desktop to your TV. And the same thing with Microsoft. I mean, you can see that's kind of the direction they're going with unifying their UI. Is you'll have your Microsoft Live account. And so any files that you have in your OneDrive and probably any of your files that you have stored locally are all sort of together. And if you want to fire up Photoshop, you can do that from your phone, from your tablet, from your laptop, from your desktop, from your TV.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Apple's trying to do with Yosemite. You saw how they did iCloud
convergence.
Yeah, they did pretty much the same side sync where you can link your phone and your laptop and answer calls, place calls, things like that. iMessages will be device agnostic. You can answer them on your iPhone, your iPad, or your Mac OS 10. So yeah.
And just to add to what Juan was saying, I totally agree 100% that it's either Apple or Microsoft game to fumble because this is where we all are going to see that the old boys in the game, the Apples and Microsoft, already have that mind share of being people who create devices with operating system. Google. Yeah. He realized
Google's
this.
A services company. Yeah. They need someone else's devices to use their stuff.
But Google realized what they needed to do a while ago. That's why they came out with Chromebook. That's why they came out with a Chrome OS. That's why they came out with Android. That's why they came out with so many things trying to get you into the Google ecosystem. But the thing is, Microsoft and Apple already had an ecosystem. Yeah. And Google, although they're trying to build it, they're not quite there yet. No matter how many games they make on cell phones or tablets, they're still not there yet.
No, I agree, and I think the big argument will come down the line is which is better, unification or convergence? Because Microsoft is doing unification, and Apple has now decided that it's going to do convergence, where you can move certain things over from one device to the other. Unlike Microsoft, where it's every device just looks the same, from Windows PC all the way down to a smartphone. So I think we'll see that. But I think in terms of device sizes, I think closer to what Juan was saying is that consumers, the lines are blurring for consumers in terms of the sizes, but I think consumers also are buying some of Microsoft's argument. If my lines are blurring, then where's my productivity? That's the other thing that comes in that we tend to forget, which is why everybody tries to make keyboards and say, oh, you can do all this kind of work on your device. Because at the end of the day, you can consume content on any size, but there are only certain sizes you can work on. And that's the thing that a lot of consumers are slowly getting into and saying, wow, my Surface can do this, or my tablet can do this, and I didn't know I can extend, left and right. So it's just, we have to wait and see what, the companies do. But I agree with you that Google is in a tougher predicament because they don't have that ecosystem and they don't have that center device. Microsoft can at least look at Windows as a device, solid device ecosystem, say we're going to do this across the board, and Apple has its own tight-knit ecosystem, but Google just doesn't have that. So that would be interesting all the way. Sorry, you going to say something?
Yeah, just from a consumer standpoint, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the experience is what's going to sell, the convergence or the unification. I was just using my Surface Pro 3 to make a video review, and I was using the OneNote feature, and I wrote my notes on the Touch Pro 3 and the Surface Pro 3, and I went to my other Surface, and my notes are just there. Like, I didn't touch anything, and my notes are there, and I'm like, wow. Like, I really did not know how seamless that was. So I think that's the experience itself is what's going to have consumers. So you know what? I want a Windows computer versus a Mac. I got to do an extra step or two to transfer all that stuff where I don't have to do anything at all on a Windows device. And Windows 8 is getting a lot better. I mean, that's a fact. I mean, I love using it. So I think it's just the experience itself that's going to sell.
And not to get too much on the Windows bandwagon, right? But, the simplest thing
Keep riding that horse.
The simplest thing that most people don't think about, your desktop wallpaper. To me, that to me is just beautiful the way Microsoft has done that. I changed my desktop wallpaper. I pick up my laptop, the wallpaper's changed. I go to my all-in-one, the wallpaper's changed. I pick up my Surface Pro, the wallpaper's changed. All they need to do is have my Xbox change as well, and I'm like, this is it.
Well, we're pretty confident that's going to be coming too.
You get the same feel. Yeah, you get the same feel. You feel comfortable. You feel as though you know exactly what device you're using once you open up that device because it's all unified.
Yeah, those are like kind of that Apple tax that Apple has. That's the Microsoft tax. Like if you want to pay for a Microsoft tablet or operating system, you're going to get that with it. And those are stuff you can't buy. So.
Well, and I think that, I mean, because I want to tie this back to what we were talking about with Samsung. This is why I think that the Android-based tablet manufacturers are having a slightly more difficult time justifying their product lineups. And that's exactly, I mean, when we were having that conversation, oh, well, I think the 8's more like a phone, and I think the 10 is more for productivity work. We're having a much harder time discussing what it is about the Android tablets currently that would make us want to go out and grab one.
Yeah. And especially in Samsung's case in particular, it's oversaturation because they have so many product lines, and within each line is a different size. Like, I think people would be a lot more excited about the Tab S if we hadn't seen, which is the Pro. In January, which is pretty much the same device, except they switched display technology. They've got the same processors, they've got the same battery capacity, they've got the same size. The only thing they've changed was they made it a little bit thinner, they reduced some of the bezel, they added a gold-plated or faux gold-plated rim, and then they said, look, AMOLED. Like in an hour-and-a-half presentation, they spent 50 minutes talking about AMOLED.
Yeah.
And that's
Andrew,
really the only thing they have
please,
to say.
please, let's not talk about
Yeah,
that.
please. I slept through that. I don't want to have to sleep through it again.
You can see.
Well, guys, what you see with the SAMOLED panel, with the super active matrix organic light emission
That's
diode
exactly what he
display,
said, though. That's unfortunate.
with each individual pixel creating its own light.
We need a megapixel video.
Yeah, I'm gonna do another megapixel video. Yeah, hell yeah.
Kudos to Samsung for the food, though. Oh my God, that stuff was great, man.
Man.
Oh Jesus, good food.
Oh Lord. Okay. On that note.
No. We should quantify this. No, we should quantify this. Okay. All you all watching out there should understand that. Yet sometimes they serve food, and sometimes they serve great food. But this time they had this rib of lamb. Oh my. God.
So good.
The food kind of upstaged the device for me. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, that's the only reason I hung around so long. I did my hands-on in like 30 minutes. I was ready to leave, but they kept bringing out the shrimp. The people were like, "You want to take some shrimp? You want to take some lamb?" I was like, "I guess I can sit here and talk with you guys."
Yeah. It wasn't even us. It was all about the food. Yeah. But moving on. This is my favorite part. Let's move on to my favorite part.
Yeah. So SoftBank USA. Report came out this week about the details on the proposed merger between Sprint and T-Mobile by SoftBank, the parent company of Sprint. So, but part of the rumors is that it's going to be a merger of both companies, and the name will change. They're looking at SoftBank USA because number one, they can't use the T-Mobile name anyway if they actually buy out T-Mobile and then merge it with Sprint. Deutsche
No,
Telekom.
they can.
They can.
Yeah.
For a limited time. That's part of the deal.
Oh, for a limited. Okay.
And they would eventually transition to SoftBank USA.
SoftBank
But
USA. Okay.
Deutsche Telekom just doesn't want. They don't mind the name. They don't want to have to actually pay for the operation of T-Mobile.
Oh, T-Mobile, yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to get
but-
out of the U.S. market.
But part of the deal said Deutsche Telekom will still own about 20% of
Yeah.
that merged company.
And that's why
Um,
they'd be okay with it.
You'll be okay with it. CEO of Sprint, that Hess, will be off as CEO of the new company. He will be on the board. It says he will be on the board, and the current T-Mobile CEO will take
T-Mobile.
over as the head of SoftBank USA, whatever this new company will be called. A couple of things they did mention was that the Sprint family plan, family or whatever it is called now, will still remain. It might change the name, and that will be still have the same feature of having 8 people on the plan, and then your prices drop to $25 for each person on the plan. And then T-Mobile's current plan will also change to now being $60 for unlimited everything with a 5 gigabyte data cap, which is higher than what they have, which is like 2.5 right now for the base. So that's what they're looking at on there in terms of what the rumors are saying that it's going to come out as a company. And the pricing is still about $32 billion. It might go up to about 36, I think, or 37, something like that.
Yeah, and if it doesn't get government approval, T-Mobile would get $2 billion from SoftBank.
God, man, I mean, like
T-Mobile was racking in the
laughing
cash,
all
man.
the way
Yeah.
to the bank with these
Jesus.
failed
So
mergers.
they're about to get $2 billion.
Yeah, and no, but
I
the
think-
thing is, AT&T was going to give them like $20 billion, and then because that deal didn't go through, they got like a $4 billion payment, and they
Yeah.
used that $4 billion to make the company even stronger. So now
Yeah.
when Sprint comes along, they're like, "Hey, we're about to get $32 billion. This really worked out for us."
That's
This is
crazy.
the issue I have
So-
with Sprint. Clear leadership, T-Mobile. Sprint's very poor leadership. That's why I'm really excited to have the guy from T-Mobile.
And pretty
put
shitty
that one
service.
in. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to give it
Let's
to
just hope they keep Sprint's PR company. Let's just hope for that.
You think so?
Sprint-
You don't think
I actually like
T-Mobile's
T-Mobile's PR company.
No, too much PRs. No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I was just gonna say because I've not really been liking these new Sprint ads, and I thought the most recent.
Oh,
slate
no.
of
He meant.
T-Mobile-
Sorry.
Oh, PR reps.
Oh,
okay.
PR. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was
okay.
thinking
Yeah.
advertising.
He meant to
no, you're
us,
right.
not-
You're right.
Yeah,
We're talking shop. He's talking shop.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm the same with you, Han. I'm thinking about the marketing too.
Yeah, I was going back into my job as a casting director. Like, well, in the advertising market, what I think is not applicable to this discussion.
So your thoughts on the deal? I know Sam's about to kick off, so go ahead, Sam.
Oh, no. I'm just saying that I think it's a great. I should preface it by saying I totally understand everybody's argument that now we're taking what used to be 4 carriers and making them 3, but truth be told, the last 2 weren't really playing a major factor. Sprint wasn't delivering on service, and T-Mobile wasn't big enough to make an impact against AT&T and Verizon. Now we're getting one company that can actually challenge them. Look
Yeah.
at what happened when T-Mobile actually made that decision to become an uncarrier. Look at the ripple effect that happened and the kind of decision-making process that went even on Verizon and AT&T, where they're thinking, oh, we have to try to do something similar. They all came out with similar, not quite the same plan. Some of them actually costing more at the end of the day, basically weeks after T-Mobile came out with theirs. Now, if you can get T-Mobile in a place, if you can get that leadership in T-Mobile in place to actually start making significant changes that could actually impact the revenue of the top 2 service providers, America is about to see a whole new age of the cowboy when it comes to cell phone and mobility. We're about this is about to become the Wild West.
Hey, I have to agree with Sam. I think I said this when this first came out. It's like this needs to happen because, like you just said there, these 2 companies coming together to be able to challenge the other big 2 is really something that the market needs. The other 2 are just they're literally conglomerates compared to where T-Mobile and Sprint are. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, we're losing. Listen, we're not losing much, other than 2 companies that can't really do much by themselves. They might as well let their powers combine and combat against the other 2 out there. you might as well now.
No, as long as your CEO's in place, I'm pretty confident. The Un-carrier kind of agenda that's been pushed will continue with SoftBank. That was my main issue to begin with.
That is
Yeah.
one of the things that it says SoftBank likes and they want to continue because it.
Well, that's what they want. They want that type style of carrier.
Because that's who SoftBank was. Masayoshi Son, when he got big in Japan, it was the same essentially. He came out of nowhere. He didn't even have a wireless network, and he built it up, and he took on the big guys in Japan. So when he sees how John Ledger has just pretty much brought T-Mobile from on the brink of nothingness to being one of the biggest challengers in the industry, he's like, this is what we need to do. And he says that he says the American industry should be number one, but in terms of wireless communication, we're lagging behind a lot of other countries.
Well, and they absolutely bet on the wrong horse with being able to do that with Sprint. They
Yeah.
have the
Yeah, they
vision
did.
there to be able to execute that.
Yeah, like
They're
I said
gonna,
last
the new
time,
company's going to be called VoiceStream.
old school, right there.
And I
That's
love how
very
they're
old
getting rid of the
school. No, like I
prepaid
said
services
before.
too.
There's almost no point in them now.
You said they're
with all
getting rid of the
these
prepaid
plans.
services as well, right?
No, they're not going to get
No,
rid
they're
of them.
gonna-
They're going to
they're
merge
actually
all of
gonna-
them.
I
Because
think Virgin's the only one that's allowed to stay around, right? Virgin's going
No,
to be its own thing.
Sprint
No.
owns Virgin wholly. They just pay Virgin to operate under the brand, and Sprint owns Boost, and Sprint owns somebody else. I forget who, but they're just
T-Mobile
gonna-
owns
they're going to put all of them together.
yeah, that one, yeah. So,
Awesome. So they'll have the main carrier, then one, I guess, smaller one, and that's it.
No. It's just going to be one, and basically they want to have the Un-carrier plans and the family plan.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
You're still- All your
That's
bills.
what needs to happen. And I mean, really, I've been dying for AT&T and Verizon to do this. Just why do we need 50 billion plans? There should be just 2 freaking plans out there. It's very
Because
Well,
simple.
when you go overseas and you see what's going on, you're like, yo, we're getting scammed, and like no one knows this. That culture is being brought over here, which is a necessity. So
Because
It's so
it
funny.
really makes a lot of sense when you look at it. It's saying like if Sprint's plan, I mean T-Mobile's plan right now is a flat plan. Everything's covered. It's just your data per cap goes up. And
Yeah.
you're starting at a 5 gigabyte cap. With
At
the-
60?
At 60, and
Wow.
that's literally it. And then the
Wow.
family plan is their way of having contracts by saying if you stay with 8 people, then that price drops down to 25.
And
So-
we,
It helps out everyone there, I think.
Create this one mega mech team, the Voltron of family plans, and get everybody together. Let your powers combine.
do you think that they're going to have all their devices come like unlocked? Like, do you think that will be like? Because I know Verizon does that with their LTE devices. Do you think they'll go with that too? Because if they do that, then it's like, yeah, I'm on it.
Uh,
I think why would they
might,
change
because
that? That's been a
it's gonna
good draw, really.
The issue for them is going to be it's going to take several years for them to make sense of all the different technologies. Because remember,
Yeah.
T-Mobile and Metro PCS are still in their transition of merging their different spectrum holdings and aligning all of their spectrums to work on with where you can just release one device and it'll work on either network.
Mhm.
Sprint it's Clearwire. It has this WiMAX legacy.
Exactly.
They can no, there are
They
people
only
behind
just
that.
recently started shuffling off Nextel.
And then
That's
Sprint is
crazy.
doing all that Spark stuff. So there's going to be a meeting where they have to say, all right, how are we going to get this? And I think there's going to be a transition period where they just say, all right, every phone we release on these networks are going to be unlocked because they're going to have to have the chipsets have modems that will work on all these different bands of wireless access because it's going to be a jumbled mess for at least 4 years of when they're making the transition.
I mean, but
I
the
think
good
they're gonna-
thing is that a lot of devices now have almost the full spectrum, especially
Yeah.
after Qualcomm released that chip last year, which covers a whole huge spectrum because of China, because China is the one that really actually helps this kind of deal because the spectrum list in China is very weird. It's not standard like we have here, especially the LTE spectrum is they've got some very weird LTE spectrum. So Qualcomm released that chip, and I think that would help at least with that transition.
But I think I think them buying T-Mobile, I think their transition. I think they're pretty much deciding to go with whatever T-Mobile's been doing with their network. I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to jump behind. It's sort of the standard that they're going to sweep across the boards eventually. That
What are the
everyone
odds
is
that
gonna
this
run
deal
this.
goes through?
I think it's better than. I think it's a lot better than AT&T, T-Mobile.
I
Solely
think
because
I think it is.
Because I really want it to happen. I mean, it's
Yeah,
I think it's better
Sure.
solely because I think the majority of the ire right now is focused on Time Warner Comcast. That's the big bad right now, and so if there's going to be a lot of people kicking up dirt about mergers and acquisitions, it's going to be focused over there. So I think Sprint
think
has
messaging
excellent
is gonna be
timing in slipping under the
Yeah.
radar.
Do you see what Comcast is doing with like their home? I guess.
Yeah, they're
modems?
doing
The
modems.
whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I guess that's intelligent. I don't know if it's an invasion of privacy. I don't know what that entails. But what they're doing is they're pretty much making all their Wi-Fi modules accessible to the public via the one that you purchase in your home, and they're going to have like a whole network of this Wi-Fi hotspots using your data plans. They said it won't cause congestion because they have dedicated servers for it, but at the same time, I don't know how I feel about that.
But it's also only limited to Comcast customers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be a Comcast customer to get to Xfinity Wi-Fi anyways, which
Yeah.
is free. If you are on Comcast, all you have to do is connect to it and sign in, and you get access to that free. But I also think it's only based if you get their Wi-Fi gateway thing. I don't think it's for the
Okay.
regular modems and stuff like that. I think it's just that their Wi-Fi, box that they make. I believe that's the only one.
It's
that
the
can do
all-in-one.
that. Yeah, the
Yeah, it's
all-in-one
Yeah, that's what I have now.
all-in-one.
So, okay.
That does like the phone. It does everything all in one.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I give them that. Yeah.
So it looks like we all like SoftBank buying T-Mobile. Surprise! Wow.
I wonder what the soccer jersey is gonna say.
I'll be the abstaining voice in that mergers like this always make me a little nervous. I genuinely do want more competition, not less. But then you also have to look at what exactly is competition, and can a tiny little company like T-Mobile
Yeah.
actually compete?
Yeah.
That's a much more difficult question to answer. So
But if you look at what T-Mobile has done in the last last couple of years, especially
right,
since
but
they
I
made that
don't think
announcement.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
it's
think
not-
that's sustainable because they're basically
Yeah.
burning through their AT&T cash and they're sort of subsidizing that growth on the hopes that they can monetize it later.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
taking that leadership and putting them in front of a bigger organization with more
Resources.
more cash, more
Resources.
resources. That's good for competition. That's
Yeah, it
very
is. It is.
good. Especially like I was saying, if the messaging is on point, if the messaging is we are giving consumers what everyone else in the world has already.
Yeah,
You know,
that's pretty
if
much
that's
it.
the message, which I don't know how far they'll go with it, but if that's the messaging, I think consumers would be 100% behind them. Because we really need to have the American cell phone and mobile market shooken up.
Yeah, no, definitely
Shaken up.
needs to happen, and I think that T-Mobile and then this merge with SoftBank is going to be the way this happens. It has to be some type of shakeup here that we stop having the Verizons and AT&Ts of the world being reactive instead of proactive. And that's what these companies are. They sit back and they become reactive. And when that starts to happen, unfortunately, you get a lot of things that are not necessarily the most customer friendly and are not necessarily the most fair things in the market. And the biggest crime that ever happened was these stupid data cap things happening now. Nobody, I swear, nobody on earth, no customer should be stressed about data on their phone. It's what they use on a daily basis. They should be able to use their data without having to stress if they go over their plan and per month that they got to pay this extra ginormous tier just to get to something else. And these are the same companies that are trying to push these damn services that they want you to promote through their phone, but they don't want to give you any free data for using their services anyway. Some type of instinctive for it. They want you to use everything under the same little cap. They want you to use your Wi-Fi hotspot, all this stuff, but they want you to use it.
They're
Getting
against municipal Wi-Fi. They're against anything that lets a consumer basically hop off of their network and not get billed. Anything that stops you from giving them your dollars is bad. But everything they keep on reducing the amount of content, the amount of. Sorry, go ahead.
But I know what you're saying. It's all about limiting and restricting. But I will say this: that if I am waiting for the data, unlimited data plans will come back because eventually this nonsense is going to have to stop because people are just not going to put up with it. And it's just going to become a case of it might be one of those things eventually like how Congress got involved with the damn what was it, the contract thing, the getting out of your contract and paying social service fees things and locking your phone number down and stuff like that. It might take some intervention like that again for these companies to move. I hope not. I hope it's just competition just forces this to happen. But eventually, the unlimited data is coming back. I don't give a damn if Verizon CEO continues to say that unlimited data doesn't matter. Yeah, it really does matter because that's what people want to use, period.
And the fact that they
You
can
know what you're
promote it
talking
as
about?
unlimited.
You think thinks he knows what he's talking about, but he's sitting behind the comfortable fact that people have the conscious mind of Verizon as the best network. Trust me, that is changing very much. The other networks are getting a whole lot better, and if you got to drive through Connecticut with a Verizon phone, you're screwed.
All right, cool. We actually have a bunch of comments here, which we just kind of sped through. Lou Rod says, last time I bought a Madden game was on Sega when it was fun.
That's another thing too. Madden became unfun after a while.
Oh, man.
He bought it when they still did the injuries, like in
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Last Madden I played it was 2006, and that's it, man.
The last one I played
Yeah.
was the last time the Patriots won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's about the last time I buy them now.
Yeah. Lou Rod also says the best football game was Tecmo Bowl.
Oh, Lord
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Yes.
they came back. Remember, they came back with an app version of that. I think they came out with something.
You know what? They should just bring back Tecmo Bowl, even just for that.
I think they
fact
did.
alone.
Yeah,
think
but
that-
it doesn't count. It doesn't count unless Bo Jackson is in there, because when
Oh,
we used to have a rule that said, hey, no one could choose Bo Jackson when we played Tecmo Bowl because he was unstoppable. There'd be like 5 guys on it.
Yeah.
Just put up, down, straight, and then it was over. He scored a touchdown every time.
I'm sure there's a way they can get Bo Jackson in there.
Yeah.
There's gotta be a way. There's gotta be a way to get him there. If it was just him alone, I mean, I think that would still be enough to push
Yeah.
that game out.
If 2K released a remastered version of 2K5, is that possible under the license agreement? Or no? Like, just take the game that already launched before and just remaster
downloadable
it?
content, maybe. Maybe I
Yeah.
said
Maybe.
yeah, but
Because I would buy that in a heartbeat.
I
I don't know. Lou Road also asks, any of you guys going to Comic Con? I'm not going to San Diego Comic Con.
I'm going to the one in Philadelphia, yes.
There's one in New York coming up, but no, not the big Comic Con, no. And he's asking about Jason Momoa, Aquaman rumors, which have resurfaced again.
Jason Momoa is Khal Drogo, right?
Yes, Khal Drogo as Aquaman.
That's not a good career move. You don't go from Drago
It
to
helped
Aquaman.
Vinny Chase. It helped
You don't
Vinny
go to
Chase.
Aquaman. You don't go from Drago
Hey, it
That's
helped
what
Vinny
the queen
Chase.
of
Worked
mother
for Vinny
dragons
Chase.
to chasing dolphins and shit, man.
No.
Aquaman does not chase dolphins.
They chased him, man.
He doesn't chase dolphins. He calls them to him.
We can spend
I'm
15
bored.
minutes waiting for you to legitimize Aquaman.
He's so legitimate.
I don't think
He's
it's
so
legitimize him.
legitimate.
I think for him it's a great career move because he actually has a chance to change the image of Aquaman because there's never been one that's solidified. And if you can do it as an actor, that puts you on a different level. It's not being an actor that just basically
Or career
If they
suicide.
made him the Aquaman with the missing hand, that I would watch. I just want to see a badass Aquaman with a hook on one hand. But apart from that, nah. That's it. Not interested.
I'm for it. 21 Gary In says, great podcast, guys. With owning all the consoles, to me, all Sony showed us was indie titles. Nintendo put up more interesting show, IMO. So there you go. And yeah, that's it. And anything else? Yeah, World Cup. Any thoughts? Have you watched any
Spain.
games?
That
Ouch.
Netherlands game was nuts.
Ooh.
Oh, I love that. I love watching that Netherlands game so much.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That game was payback for 2010
Yeah.
World Cup.
Oh.
Oh God.
Of the
Was
worst
this payback? No, it wasn't
No,
payback.
it's not payback because they didn't win anything, but it was still very nice to see because
Yeah.
like usually you don't see like whoopings like that between two of big
Mm-mm.
countries. It's usually like some Brazil versus North Korea or something. Or like
Yeah,
China
Well,
versus
I think
France.
Spain was hoping to tie out of that game, and right now they got to win out to get out of that group.
Man, I started playing some Shakira in the background just to get Spain to see if they could get the game going or something. They couldn't do anything, man. It's crazy.
But that should just show you some of you soccer fans that anything can happen in soccer. It isn't absolute.
It's
It's
no.
not absolute.
You keep missing the point. I said, look, it's not like any other sport. It's literally soccer. This is weird for us to see that.
Yeah.
It's not anything can
I
happen.
don't understand, but anything just happened.
Listen, we were watching.
Anybody
we were watching.
expected
You missed the
anything can
point.
happen.
No, you missed the point. In football, it's any given Sunday. Anything can happen in football.
Well,
In
it was
soccer-
any given Friday yesterday.
No, that's
It got whipped.
No.
They
In soccer,
got
it's different,
whipped.
right? Brazil has won what 5 World Cups.
Yeah,
right?
I was going to say
They've
that.
never won it at home.
Yeah.
That's to show you
Yeah.
how good countries are. You go to somebody else's home crowd with the crowd, the whole nation behind, not a team, the whole nation behind, and you whoop their ass and you go home with the cup. That's why it's in football. It's totally different. It's about your quality of skill. And yesterday, Netherlands showed quality of skill, and that header by Van Persie.
Oh my God, that was amazing.
Listen,
Cool.
as an
God.
Arsenal fan, I'm contractually obligated to hate Van Persie.
Yeah, I
but
agree.
When that goal went in, I was like, all right, hats off to you, man. That's incredible.
That was poetry in motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think I'll put it this way, right? In football, people are playing to be the best in a league, right? But in soccer, right now for the World Cup, you are playing literally to be the best in the world. The whole world is looking at what team is going to be the pinnacle of one sport.
well, the NFL is kind of the same way. There's like
No,
there's
it's
another
not.
league.
No, but they don't.
No.
There's not another league in the world. There's not another league. There's not another
Listen,
league top than that.
That's why it's
Getting attacked
different.
by
That's
soccer
why it's
fans.
different.
Getting attacked by
That's why it's
soccer
different.
Best
fans.
in
The
league, the
NFL
other is
does not
best
draw
in the
from a
world.
global. The NFL does not draw from a global.
I know that. I know that. But I'm
It's not
just
the
saying.
same.
I just said your analogy was just saying in football they only play to be the best in the league. Well, that's the top league there. They are
Yeah,
both.
but it's also
No,
not
look,
the
In
top
soccer
level.
too, you have the same thing. You have the same in the Premier League and the Championships League. But
Exactly. That's what we compare it
this
to.
is
If
the
I was to compare it
stage,
to.
Warren. This is the stage where heroes are made.
Listen, we're
Literally, this is
watching-
where you
we're
get
watching
heroes.
the game.
That's the
right?
same thing that
Listen.
happens with Richard Sherman when he's sitting there in the Super Bowl telling people.
No,
Yeah,
nah,
no,
God.
dude.
I'm just saying, stop being soccer elitist and just understand what I'm saying.
I can't understand what you're saying when there's no comparison. Wait. Let me help you
Look,
out.
You just said your
let's do the best
analogy,
thing.
and you just said they're the best in the world. And I was saying, well, there's nothing. The NFL is the top league of
No,
football
yeah,
in the
But
world.
the NFL is not a global event. It only draws from the United
Well,
States.
I wouldn't say.
It
I wouldn't
barely
say that. I
draws
wouldn't
from
say the Super.
Canada.
I wouldn't say the Super Bowl isn't necessarily like a
Oh,
league.
what? We have a much wider. You have a much wider talent pool with
Sorry.
soccer.
I'm watching
No, I know.
Greece versus Colombia here on the side, and
Oh.
oh my God, it just hit the sidebar. It was.
Yeah, I just saw that. He just,
Let me
We're
guess.
watching the game.
Colombia is
We're-
basically running them, like schooling them.
Yeah. We're
yeah.
watching the game at Sam's house, right? And Enabong, Brazil's down 1-0, right? I'm like,
Own goal.
yeah, right? No, listen. And I'm like, man, listen, Brazil is looking like they might lose. And Enabong's like, nope, they're fine. I'm like, what are you saying? They're down 1-0 with like 60 minutes left. He's like, listen, they're gonna win 3-1. By the time they're down 1-0, I'm like, what are you talking about? They win the game 3-1. That's how soccer is. It's just that
No.
talent level is consistent. You can't have that in football. For one, the talent pool is so much smaller, and like you're having a global game. The best players are on those teams, regardless, and it does not matter. So if you're having Brazil win all these World Cups but not win at home, that's telling you something.
But how many times are you going to get a World Cup in your own hometown? That's not necessarily the most common thing to happen.
Every 40 years.
I mean, that's not common. It's not even like it's the same team playing every time that happens.
Well, you would hope
But
not.
this- yeah, that was
40 years.
I mean, they're going to win this one around anyways, so it doesn't matter.
No,
That's
it's
not-
not a
no,
movie.
Not the way they played yesterday or the other day.
They're going to win the World Cup. They're
I
going
don't
to
know,
beat
man. I think-
Argentina.
Okay,
and
you
win.
can say that. No, everybody's allowed to predict, but I think
I
it's
hope
not gonna
I'm
be
so
that
right
easy.
about
It's not
this
that easy of a
dance
call.
from the soccer
I'm
fans' faces.
I'm
I
not,
hope
I'm
I'm so
not,
right
I'm not
about
sure
this.
about Brazil winning because a couple of things here. They played that first game. They played with so much stress on them. I've never seen a Brazil side play.
Wouldn't you be stressed in front of your home country that got guns, man?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I think if anyone's
it's different if I'm in America and I'm in stress here. It's like if I own goal, I know I can go home still.
Soccer's in their blood.
Yeah,
They
but
live
I
stuff
think
like
if
this.
anyone's stressed about the
That
World
dude
Cup
kicked
right
the whole
now,
goal. He looked like his life flashed before his eyes. Okay, did you see the look on his face?
He was never
saw
under threat.
death.
Brazil is not like Colombia. Like they
He
love the
saw
soccer
death.
game, but they're not gonna walk out and shoot somebody
But-
because of it.
But
They're very passionate, but they're not violently against their own because they're
I'll
gonna
put it
want to
this-
win Copa America in 2 years, so they're not gonna kill one of their
Yeah.
best defenders.
See, as long as they don't lose to Argentina, that is one big thing for Brazil. I mean, they could lose the World Cup, but if it's not against Argentina, it's fine. I mean, like they will be pissed, but as long as it's not against Argentina, because that would really cause some ruckus. Now, if Argentina,
I don't even think they can lose. I don't think they can lose right now. With all,
I don't.
it's not. It would be a ruckus if they lose regardless, right? Because with all the political stuff, everything going on in the country right now, there's so much pressure on that team to show up. There's so much
They
pressure.
have to win that. As much crap as they've gone through, and getting this World Cup happening and all the protests and stuff and happening, they have to win this.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on them. There's a lot of pressure, but
they're on the line.
But seriously,
though, this is where Colombia was back in 1994. It's almost eerily similar to that.
They won the Confederations Cup last year, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm just gonna put it this way: my World Cup story already happened. Sitting in the bar, watching Brazil playing against Croatia, and there's an American who's never played soccer. He's basically said he's never watched the whole game. He actually sitting down there having a drink next to me, and he's asking questions. He's like, and the funny questions the one question he asked that stuck out was, why does the timer keep going up? Like in every other American sport, the timer's going down. It's a countdown.
Yeah, no, that annoyed me too. It took me a while to get used to that too. The timer going up.
Well, I love the non-marketing aspect of soccer, like that you watch the full game. It's amazing.
And then at the end,
the non-marketing aspect.
It's non-marketing. This thing is in a time.
Commercials, man, commercials.
Marketing commercials.
No. Oh my God.
Warren, you get 45 minutes.
I see
a short pause and then another 45 minutes. That's it.
I know. I understand.
You have like consecutive commercials.
Like a
10-minute period.
Yeah, no, I understand. I thought you meant to say non-marketing. I'm like, there's nothing but marketing. Look, even the sign is marketed by Timex, man.
Okay, just to make my point, what the guy was basically saying is he's never had that much fun watching a game at a bar. This is a New Yorker saying he's never had more fun watching a soccer game he's never watched from start to finish before for the first time in a bar in New York. And to me, that's my World Cup story. I'm like, okay, good. I witnessed someone start the beginning of someone's love affair with soccer. End of story.
I look at it like this. We have football here in America, and like we think this is like our sport, our country sport. If you look at soccer, it's much more human because all you need is a ball, right? You go outside, you kick it around. That's the way they do in those cultures, in those countries. Football, you got to go to a football team. You got to get equipment. You got to play. It's different than soccer. Soccer's like a heritage sport. It's more human. That's why the emotion and the passion is there. So I mean, you're not going to get that with football, regardless.
Yeah, we have one very important question from Rod Johnson. Thank you, Rod, for joining us again. He says, "Does the U.S. have a legitimate chance of winning the World Cup?"
Sorry, bro. Sorry.
No.
Let's put it this way.
Any given Sunday. Woo!
I was waiting for that.
Let me put it this way. If the U.S. gets
semifinals,
out of Group G, if they get out of Group G, seriously, this will be the story of the whole World Cup if they get out of like Group G.
Hey, one of my brackets,
that's all they need to do.
One of my brackets, I have them coming out.
I think USA's goal is not winning. USA's goal needs to be getting out of this group because
the goal should be winning.
No. It's unrealistic to say they can win. If they get out of this group, then
I don't care about being realistic. It's about winning.
Football. That's why we're saying.
Warren.
The U.S. This isn't a U.S.
winning.
thing. This is a global thing.
Charlie Sheen right now.
Every 4 years,
Tiger Blood. Winning.
Your goal is to get out of that group.
Yeah.
And in the knockout phase, you think you're gonna have your day, and then you can just say, all right, we're in the group round of 16. We're in the quarterfinals. We're in the semifinals. If you're a country like Brazil or Spain or something, you're supposed to go into the mentality, we're gonna win this. If you're in the U.S., you're going to say,
I think
we have the toughest group. We need to just be focused on advancing into the knockout phase.
And that's why the same teams keep winning.
I'll put it this way.
Because it's one team that says, I'm going to go out there and win, F everything else. Everybody, I just want to get this far. I just want to get that far. I just want to get this far.
Warren, it's skill level and experience, and the U.S. doesn't have skill level.
I don't care about that. I like to me, it's like
I'm
going to go in there every time and know that I'm going to go out there and want to win the whole thing and be disappointed at the end, but know that my mentality that I wanted to win, rather than sit there and put a limited expectation on myself.
Warren, let me put it this way.
You may not even reach that on a video chat.
Warren, do you play basketball, Warren?
Yeah.
I don't play basketball. So what if I just come over there and I just start dunking on you every single point I get is just dunking on you? That's impossible. I'm not gonna win. I'm just not gonna win because I don't know how to play the game. You know,
2K,
you need
right?
to learn.
Yeah.
And this is basically training wheels for the U.S. The U.S. needs to learn that there's stages.
Hey,
and I
you
think
win here and you win now.
They don't know how to play the
now.
game at that level. That's what he's saying.
I understand that, but you're gonna learn today. Apparently, it's too late to sit there and think I don't know how to learn this. If you win that position, you better learn today.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right. On that note and mentality there, I was just gonna add, the U.S. is not gonna get out of this group.
I just don't like.
Yeah, maybe Jesus on
I
the side if
understand
they do.
expectations,
I'm keeping
but
my
then I
fingers crossed.
don't like going in mindsets of limited mindsets when I'm trying to win something. I understand expectations, but sitting there limiting yourself to say we just want to get out of Cal State.
Did you see that group?
Why go?
Did you see that group?
Why go? Seriously, why go?
No,
Because it's the same reason why you go to the Olympics. It's to
Yeah,
be
exactly.
outdoors,
But no,
and
but
you
it's-
just sort of pay respect to the fact that this is a game played internationally, and you're going to go out there and you're going to give your best. But that's also sort of
Limiting
recognizing
expectations.
that
But
you're
it's what you just said.
probably not going to beat Ghana.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Don't beat Ghana.
No. The thing that I think Warren misses here is that if the U.S. had a team, especially through qualifiers, where they were tearing people up, that's what people's mindset change. You go,
We could do this.
oh yeah, they can go somewhere with this, but they didn't have that. We don't see that precedence there. It's not like we're talking about them going against. Not like about them going against a team like Germany who literally just demolished everybody going through like it was a clinic. So that's why we're not even doing it on say history. We're doing it on just previous history of qualifying to the World Cup.
Straight facts, dog.
Yeah,
Straight facts.
and if the U.S. came out with their qualifiers and they were just demolishing people, and you're like, wow, I haven't seen the U.S. squad where they're so clinical, they're technical, and then I start going, these guys have a chance. I can see like a semifinal.
I understand. I know. I completely understand what you're saying.
So they don't have
I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, we're saying I understand that. I completely understand it. I don't even have the U.S. pick to win the whole damn thing either. Like seriously,
What we're saying is think like a winner. Think like a winner.
But what I'm saying is I just don't like the pessimistic attitude in the whole.
It's not pessimism. Warren, it's not pessimism.
It's reality.
Warren.
But guess what?
It's not pessimism.
Reality was
reality.
reality yesterday when Spain got their ass whooped. Everybody believed that was going to happen.
Warren, it's
no,
not
what
pessimism.
What happened yesterday? The fact just showed that all the facts that were shown out there was shoved out the ass when they got the ass with 5-1. 5-1.
The chance that it happened again is like 2%.
Did it happen though?
No, but it happened.
Did it happen?
Okay, all right, guys. On that note, we can continue this later because this would just be very elongated. Here.
Yeah, this would be a very long one.
I get it, but thank you very much. We're just gonna round up. We covered a lot of stuff with E3, the Galaxy Tab S, SoftBank USA, and the World Cup. And the World Cup discussion will continue as the U.S. plays on Monday. So everyone stay tuned. And also, Nigeria's playing on Monday too. We'll see how well you do.
Niger.
Only God help us there. Anyway, guys, just a quick one. What are you guys doing next week that people can stay tuned and check out? Starting off with you, Juan. Anything people can expect next week from you?
Did you say Juan or Warren?
Juan, sorry. I keep doing that at the end. I know it's like throughout the whole show I say Juan, and then at this point I go, wow.
And then hope that someone just speaks up. No, we've got a couple more speaker reviews coming out, and then also I finally have my hands on the Galaxy S5 Active. This is
you got
Samsung
yours.
that I have been most looking forward to. So next week I'm going to be getting camera tests, speaker tests, maybe some drop in water tests and stuff like that out there. So definitely
any quick insights
don't drop it in
tell
water.
people?
Don't drop it in water.
Are you feeling the device right now? Are you really feeling it?
Actually, I'm digging it. It takes me back to what the build that I liked on the Rugby. And so it's not quite as rugged as those previous, like the Rugby Smart and the Rugby Pro, but I like it better than what they did with the Galaxy S4 Active last year. And again, it's where I think Samsung is strongest is when they're building sort of purpose-built devices. Like the Galaxy S5 is a great all-rounder, but I love a Samsung that gives us like wacky zoom lenses on phones and rugged builds on phones and cameras that have Android built into them. I like it when they stray from the broad spectrum of devices and give us something that's focused on one community.
Okay, cool. How about you, Warren? What can we expect from you next week?
Next week I have a couple of reviews, a couple of more tablets I need that I haven't reviewed yet that we're going to be pushing out. We have the Gear 2 review that was done by Alex that'll be coming out either this weekend or going into next week as well too. And a couple other videos on some headphones I need to record, but that'll be coming out next week. And hopefully at some point I'll actually get a G3 to review this G3 case.
Oh, thanks,
All right.
Andrew. Shove it in our faces, man.
I got the G3.
Oh yeah, really, Andrew.
Let me
So
call home. Let me call home
You're
to
gonna
my
be
people in
that
Korea.
guy. You're gonna be
Is that how you're
that
watching the
guy.
game? That's how you're watching the game.
Yes, I'm watching the game, baby. Got my antenna straight from Korea.
I dare you to walk around the street. with
Andrew,
that
I don't
watching the
believe
game.
you. It's not to watch TV. You're calling down airstrikes, aren't you?
So Andrew, what can we expect from you?
Well, yeah, you can expect. I'm gonna have the G3 review up by the end of the week, most likely Thursday. I also posted yesterday my review of the Plantronics Voyager Edge. If you're in a state like mine where we're not allowed to use phones, it's definitely one of the nicer headsets you should consider getting while you're driving.
That's true.
And then also on Monday, I'm going to put up my review of the Huawei Ascend Mate 2 4G LTE. I had to remember how to say the name. It's the longest name I've ever said for a smartphone since.
Say it again. Say it again.
Huawei Ascend Mate 2 4G LTE.
Say it faster. Say it faster.
Okay. All right. Cool. So what can we expect from you, Sam, next week?
God, I'm backed up in a few of the reviews, so I know I still have I still have an all-in-one that isn't touch. I have a rumbling headset that should be out, but these should definitely get done before I'm out next week. So both of those, I think, both of those are there. That should be it. That should be it.
You have your Surface video.
Oh
too.
yes, and the 1 month with the Surface. Yes, that's definitely on the schedule there.
All right, cool. And myself, I have a bunch of reviews. I have the review for this 34-inch, 21 by 9-inch monitor, which is great to watch football and chat at the same time without losing any screen size space whatsoever. So I'll have that next week, and I'll have a few other a headset and a few other accessories up for you guys. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much. Do check out everyone's channel. Definitely check out Andrew Cam at Mobile Burn. That's his handle, Andrew Cam on Twitter. Follow him. He is a big Arsenal fan and he's supporting Germany. So let's keep moving from that. And next up
I don't exist.
is Mr. Some Gadget Guy, aka Juan Bagnell. That is Some Gadget Guy. I'm coming back to you guys. Relax. I mean, chill.
It's my turn, guys.
No,
Talk about me.
You never asked me about my reviews.
I know. That's what I was trying to say. I'm trying to interject and say Alex is a person too.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Okay, fine. Let me finish. Some Gadget Guy, somegadgetguy.com, and that is his Twitter handle, Some Gadget Guy, and you can follow him there and check him out on YouTube. Now, Alex,
Oh, thank you so much.
next week.
Well, I've had these Rhythm headphones for quite a while now, and these are probably the best Bluetooth headphones I've ever used in my life. I actually gave them to my dad, and then I stole them back because they were too good. So these will be up tomorrow, and like Juan, I will hopefully be getting my S5 active next week, and I'll have that probably by the end of the week. So that's pretty much how it goes.
Boom.
Okay.
Thanks, Inabang. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Alex. Whew, okay, and
Padawan has spoken.
and don't forget to subscribe to BW1.com, Mr. Warren Bowman. That is his Twitter handle. Check him out on YouTube. He's got some good long-form videos, some gaming stuff, all that stuff there. So check him out. And don't forget to also follow Black Iron Man on Twitter. And also, Alex, you don't have your Twitter handle here, man?
I don't. I should be. I say Iron Man of the Black Variety. If Andrew was saying it.
Come on, man. That is my phrase.
Okay. On that note, please do subscribe to our channels. And this is Thunder Easy. Thank you, and always enjoy your entertainment.
Go